Hello everyone. Today's topic will be photosynthesis. So, as some of you might know, photosynthesis is the process in which light energy is converted into chemical energy. Basically, how the plants breathe and release oxygen for us humans to breathe. Without this, we wouldn't even be here talking about photosynthesis. We wouldn't be alive and there wouldn't be life on this earth. So, let's write today's topic, which will be photosynthesis. Now, a general formula that is presented for when mentioning photosynthesis is 6 carbon dioxide, 6 CO2, and then you add 6 water molecules, so it would be 6 carbon dioxide molecules and 6 water molecules, and they would turn into C6H12 and O6 plus 6 oxygen molecules. So this C6H12O6 is kind of like glucose or carbohydrate, so energy, and 6 oxygen molecules, which we need to breathe and be able to function properly. Also, when talking about photosynthesis and the whole process of it, there are there are two phases. So let's write this down. Two phases. There are light-dependent reactions. So light-dependent reactions where light energy is absorbed and converted into chemical energy, and what's produced or what comes out of this reaction is ATP and NADPH. So let's write down what the result is. So ATP and NADPH. And the light independent reactions, so what doesn't need a ultraviolet or light to start the process. Independent reactions. So this uses the ATP and NADPH from the first phase, the light dependent reactions, to make glucose. So let's write down what it creates. Glucose. All right. Now let's dig deeper into phase one, the light reactions. This is where light is absorbed by organelles like chloroplast. So, for example, this would be a chloroplast, which is this organelle, and chloroplasts are in the cells of the leaves in trees, in plants, and any vegetation in on this earth. And the chloroplast has two main compartments, which is the tycholoids. So I represented this here in the tycholoid space, and the stroma, which is right here. This image right here is a representation of what is inside a chloroplast. So what can you find in the tycholoids? This is where the light-dependent reactions take place, and here you can find, for example, pigments, which is light-absorbing colored molecules, where they absorb the light that is being given off by our sun. And there are two types of chlorophylls. There's chlorophylls A and B, but you don't have to dig too much know too much about that. And what these chlorophylls and the pigments do, it's absorb the violet blue ultraviolet rays that that the sun gives off, and it reflects off the green light, which is why our eyes see the plants and the leaves as a color green and not another color. There are also other pigments in the chloroplast, and you can see these, for example, in the autumn. As the trees start to lose their leaves and prepare for winter, the chlorophyll breaks down, revealing the color of other pigments. For example, the yellow and the red and the orange. And in the stroma, that's where it's fluid filled, and that's where light independent reactions take place. Now, to talk about what was being represented here, it's called the electron transport. There are two there are two or there are various like parts to it, but some of the important ones is photosystem one, which is this one here. Let's write this down and identify it. And photosystem two, which is this one here. Now you might be wondering why one the left one is mentioned as photosystem two and the right one is photosystem one. Well, it is the order in which they were discovered. So no big science behind it or why one is one and why the other one is two. Just how they in the order they were discovered. And these photosystem one and two contain light absorbing pigments and proteins for the light reactions to occur. So they need this light. So let's write this. Let's represent this. Light and light. All right. And basically what the light does, it excites the photosystem to it yeah, it excites first the photosystem two, so this one here, and water, which would be right here. Let's start right drawing this and representing this. So for example, if we have this water molecule here, H2O, it reacts with the photosystem, so it reacts with it as the light passes through, and it gives off an electron, which would be this purple, so electron, and also gives off two hydrogen and also half an oxygen molecule. All right, so the water releases the electron and oxygen as a waste. So this would be right here. And the molecule is then transferred to the photosystem 1. So it travels through here, through various compartments, and travels to photosystem 1, where with light, so this light right here, which is also going to react with photosystem 1, it transfers the electron to the protein ferredoxin, which is represented here. So let's show this. Here, let's do it with a bolder or another color. This one, which is the ferredoxin. And the ferredoxin, what it does is transfers electron to the electron carrier NADP. So let's represent this as well. So the electron here, we're going to have to make some space. Or let's just do it over here. NADP plus added with the electron turns into NADPH. So it adds on with this. Let's to create, as we had mentioned before, one of the products or one of the products of the light dependent is NADPH. So here we have it. and then for the formation of NADPH. And then we have another process, which is this right here, and it's called chemiosmosis. What this does is some of the some of the energy hydrogen is the hydrogen being represented by the pink circles is transferred also into the thylakoid space from the stroma. So it travels into the thylakoid space. It starts building up. So let's write this down what it is. All hydrogen. And it starts building up here in the thylakoid space. What this does is going to cause the transfer through gradient, through concentration gradient. It's going to flow the electrons through the ATP synthase, which is this right here. So the ATP synthase, and this ATP synthase is going to turn ADP, so ADP, it's going to turn it into ATP, which is also energy needed to be able to function properly. So as we had mentioned before, the products of the light reaction, let's write this, light dependent reactions. So let's write light dependent reactions. These are needed for, I mean, what is the production of the light dependent reactions is NADPH and ATP, represented here and here. All right, and now we have the light independent reactions, also known as the Calvin cycle. So the energy that we have right now is in the form of ATP and NADPH, but unfortunately these are not stable enough to be by themselves. So the energy has to be moved somewhere. So the energy is stored in organic molecules like glucose, which can actually be utilized by the plants and the cells in the plants to form sugars, and they can be used as a source of energy and as building blocks for complex carbohydrates like cellulose. And the cellulose, as we know, provides structural support for the plant. All right. So now we start off with a six carbon dioxide. We have six carbon dioxide, which integrate into the Calvin cycle. And as you can see with the cycle with arrows, it is never ending and it's always repeating and continually going on in the cells. So these six carbon dioxide combine with six carbon compounds, which are actually the last step. I'll be showing you what those carbon compounds are at the end. So they combine with the step 4 carbon compounds to form a molecule called 3-PGA. So, and there are 12 of these. So 12, 3-PGA. And this is the first step, the carbon dioxide going into the cycle. And here, with the energy in ATP and NADPH are transferred to the 3-PGA. So ATP will transfer a phosphate, there are 12 ATP, and they form into 12 ADP, leaving off a phosphate, and NADPH, NADPH, and there are also 12 of these, leave off a hydrogen, and turn into NAD, P+. And there are also 12 of these. This is the second step. And then the third step sorry. And as a result of this, there are 12 of a molecule known as G3P. Let's also draw how many carbons are being added here. So here's one carbon, and here we have 3 carbon together. There are still 3 carbon molecules here. All right, so now in the third step, we're going to have 2 molecules of G3P branch off or break off from the Calvin cycle. So 2 G3P, and as we have known before, there are 3 carbon molecules. And these G3P molecules are going to be used for the production of glucose and other organic compounds like fructose and starch. So let's write this down: glucose, fructose, and starch. And these, as we had previously mentioned, are the product or the result of the Calvin cycle, which can be utilized they can be utilized for the source as a source of energy and building more carbohydrates. So then the remaining 10 G3Ps, which we'll write down here as 6-ribulose 5-phosphate. 5, I don't think it will fit there, so let's just write over here, phosphate. And so the 10 remaining G3Ps with an enzyme called rubisco, let's just write here over here, rubisco, turn into a 5-carbon molecule called ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. So let's write over here 6-ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. Also, to be able to do this, there was also an ATP, also turning into an ADP, like over here. And then this 6-ribulose 1,5 biphosphate is going to combine with new carbon dioxide molecules to continue the cycle. So as we had mentioned before in the first step, these 6-ribulose 1,5 biphosphate are the carbon compounds that combine with the carbon dioxide to continue the cycle. Let's write over here that this is step 4. All right. So as you can see, this is a never-ending cycle as long as carbon dioxide is being, as long as there is carbon dioxide, ATP, and NADPH, we can continue that cycle to keep on producing more and more sources of energy that could be used for many, many complex things so that the plant can continue living and be able to produce energy and oxygen that we can utilize. All right. I hope you liked the video, and please leave a comment with any questions or doubts that you had, and if we can do anything to make our videos better or more to your liking. Also, please like and subscribe to the video so you can continue learning and watch our new videos as they release. All right. Thank you and have a good day.